Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. So, no class today since it's the weekend, but I wanted to come on, clarify something that I talked about yesterday, and then just give a quick update on, like I said, I didn't know if I was going to just rest this weekend or continue to work on things, which, yeah, I've spent pretty much since I shot that video working on new art. I actually have a few new pieces that I will unveil in the next, over the course of the next week, as well as my stuff that I painted in the very beginning of this story and throughout the story, to show you that I was basically the very act of painting with the intentions that I have, that are pure intentions. We're actually predicting and bringing forth the events that would happen after the fact. So I was predicting certain things as I went along before they happened. So I talked about time, the concept of time here in the 3D, and the concept of time in the 5D, and how there's basically infinite time. And before, this is a good time to, I forgot to mention this yesterday when I was talking about Spinoza. If anybody was curious about what Albert Einstein believed as far as God was concerned and how his understanding of the universe, he would have, if he had to pick a philosophy, Spinoza was the one that he said he believed in. The whole God is nature / the universe, and that we are all within him. So, speaking of infinite timelines and being able to basically collapse timelines as you raise your vibration or your frequency to new heights, that's already happened. It's infinite. It already exists. I know it already is something that occurred, as well as the ability to jump back throughout time. When I painted like it's Inside a Baffling Mind, I was a different person. I was on a different timeline. I was at a different point, different frequency. So I spoke about The Man in the High Castle, the Philip K. Dick book, and then the show on Amazon Prime. And I made a mistake when I said that The Man in the High Castle made videos and people watched them. One of the characters did end up watching, but the intention wasn't to have people watch. The Man in the High Castle was co-creating the future that he wanted to see, or changing the past, if you will. Instead of the Nazis and the Japanese winning the war, he was basically rewriting or in this case, like making the movies that showed things going differently, which would then alter a timeline which does exist. And I talked about that, I'll go deeper into the Mandela effect, but I think that it's in the same bucket of ideas of how to explain the Mandela effect, that some of us may actually jump timelines where somebody else got that idea, that in a different timeline somebody else got, and like one letter's off or one detail might be different with something that we all remember one way. It's not just a false memory, it's actually occurring. But I guess, I know this is just a very dense topic and probably very confusing, but it wasn't, just like with The Man in the High Castle, it wasn't about having people watch it. It was his motivation and his intentions behind making it, and the other people who were fighting for a better world in that show or in that book, their actions, their choices were actively trying to co-create it, to collapse the timeline that they were in, to change it, to jump timelines to where they were free, that they weren't under the rule of the Germans or the Japanese. It had nothing to do with the amount of viewers. So me just sitting here right now filming this video, that act alone, and my intention is the same as The Man in the High Castles. Now, I do intend on also posting it and putting it out there for people to see. But even without the amount of viewers currently, I already know in the future the things I talk about, people will be watching. So, you know, the organized religion and the church likes to profit, whereas I guess you could say, would be considered more of a prophet. What I've spent my weekend doing was continuing to write the narrative and the script of the direction that I want things to move in the story. It's so powerful because I speak from truth, love, light, faith, and I have the backing of the universe itself, who wants the same thing that I do. So, you know, it's it's a bizarre thing to think that I already know the result of my efforts that I'm putting in now. It's not a question to me whether or not my hard work's going to pay off. It already has. In the 5D, I've already gotten to the place. I already know that I was victorious. I'm not as clueless as a lot of people thought that I was. I still know what they were trying to do. Still, last night and over the weekend, like, I know their emotions and how they're feeling. I know they're panicked and how badly they want me to stop doing what I'm doing. But yeah, one of the big things with me is that, I've said it in the past, but I'm not just light. I've spent plenty of time in the darkness, which could have easily consumed me, and I would have been lost forever, never to reach the point that I'm at now. That's a very realistic timeline that exists, where that's how this story ended up going. But that's not what happened. I faced that and recognized it, and was able to basically do a balancing act, walk the tightrope, where I can actually use that dark energy to project back to those people who are operating from that dark energy, which allows them at some point to see themselves for exactly how they're operating, what they're doing. You can't run forever from the truth. The truth is the truth. Deep down, you know, the universe knows. That's why, like, most of my life I didn't pray. The way that if you want to consider it praying now, is my own formula. I have a conversation where we talk very specifically about certain things. But why I'm so powerful in manifesting and getting the results that I desire in certain situations is that the divine, the universe, God, will always know what's in your heart. They'll always be able to feel the true intention behind your decisions. So if you're trying to battle against somebody who has a pure heart and has good intentions, and the universe knows that, God knows that, what makes you think that they're going to choose to back you over the person who's trying to restore balance to the universe itself? You can keep trying for as long as you want to delay me. But whatever power you think you hold in the 3D, however much money you have or whatever your position is, that still only exists on this plane, in this dimension. The universe doesn't so much care about status on this dimension. They don't care about titles on this dimension. They can tell the difference between authenticity and the illusion and the lies that you guys operate from. The question is, when are you going to start seeing it in yourself? So, yeah, I posted an article about purpose and what it means to me. I think it's a worthwhile read and check it out. Purpose, finding your purpose and what it means to you is a intimate, personal thing. But this was, as I said in the article, a year and a half ago, I painted on a blank canvas the word purpose. And then I put it aside. I do that with a lot of paintings. That I realized that it's basically, like I talked about, predicting the future, but I'm not quite there yet to the point where I'm ready to finish the painting. I don't know where it's going to end yet. But then there's a few other paintings that I start picking back up, and I can start to see clearly now why I started them in the first place. So I picked up the purpose, and then immediately after the week that I had, the direction that I'm headed, it became clear to me exactly what my purpose is. So yeah, it's just with my storytelling now, the things that I will teach, I've been doing like one story connects into the other one so far. But we're approaching the point where the web's getting big enough that I can basically connect any story to any other story. It's all connected, it all weaves together, just like my ability to jump timelines and jump back and forth between the dark and the light and everything. It's all woven together and connected. So yeah, the web's only going to grow. The things I teach are only going to grow. But everything that I do, just like the universe, everything has a reason behind it. Everything is connected. So for anybody who reads the article, the post, or who already has, I gave you guys a quiz the other day. I wanted to see if anybody picked up on why I said the Dark Knight and went with the Batman metaphor there. So I talked about The Prestige either yesterday or the day before, and how Christopher Nolan was one of my favorite directors, and how he directed the Batman movies. So you start to realize that all these things that you resonated with throughout your life, all the songs that I had been drawn to, the movies that I liked, the directors that I liked, the books that I read, every last one of them mattered. If something stuck with me, it was for a reason. I used to think I had all this useless information stored within me. Well, it turns out there's no such thing. It's all meaningful. And it's all part of my arsenal that I'm going to be able to use moving forward to do what I'm about to show you guys. So, just another example of why reflection and going inward and thinking about the experiences you have and the things that resonate with you, and just how important it is to spend some time using that brain that we're given, asking questions and trying to find the deeper meaning in things, and maybe connect your own dots and the patterns that exist within your own life. Because those patterns and the things that resonated with you is a message that's trying to push you towards what you're meant to be doing, what your purpose is. So, yeah, like I said, I wasn't going to try to talk for too long, but I wanted to take a little break from painting. I actually just finished one before I came, and probably paint a little bit more tonight. And may or may not throw up another post for you guys to read. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. And whether I'm on or not tomorrow, certainly we'll be back on Monday and do the next lesson. So I love you all. Hopefully you guys have gotten a chance to spend some time outdoors this weekend. It's beautiful. And if you believe Spinoza, God is nature. So we should appreciate it more and get outdoors and just surround ourselves with it. So anyway, talk to you guys soon. Love you all.